And from Real Time Studios, they present Piñata Puppy World. Hello, everybody. It's me, Donnie Boy. Before we dive in yet, yes, I know the game isn't out yet. And yes, this is a new style of video compared to my usual indie horror gameplay content. But we don't have time to discuss that. Let me present to you, will Piñata Puppy World fail? Before I can answer that question, there's a lot to unpack. So let's start with, and why am I talking about this nostalgia factor? Well, one of Piñata Puppy World's biggest selling points is its ability to tap into nostalgia. The developers clearly understand that yearning for the past can be just as terrifying as any jump scare. Starting with a 2000s era aesthetic. The game's locations evoke childhood memories. Your childhood home, school hallways, birthday parties, Christmas morning. It's the kind of sentimental backdrop that makes us reflect on the days we took for granted. It also pulls in the nostalgic factor by entertainment centers. One of the most striking locations is the entertainment center, a setting straight out of a bygone era. The dull, almost desolate exterior contrasts with the vibrant, chaotic world inside. Rainbow-colored railings, arcade machines, jungle gyms, and the classic old-school playland atmosphere. It also presents this nostalgia factor through, well, as we said it already, birthday parties, Christmas, and school days. These events aren't just nostalgia triggers, they repeat a time before responsibilities, before we had to worry about taxes, careers, or global crises. Piñata Puppy World capitalizes on that yearning for simpler days, making it all the more immersive and eerie. But as we move on from the nostalgia factor, let's take a look at the models. Cute, creepy, or contradictory? The characters' designs in Piñata Puppy World are both intriguing and confusing. Let's take a look. The first model we have is Low Poly Piñata Puppy, which is the minimalistic, rough edge design with a retro indie game aesthetic. I mean, look at him. He looks good for a retro indie game aesthetic. I mean, just look at the hollow, empty eye sockets. It adds an eerie, lifeless quality. Feels distinct, yet somewhat out of place when compared to the game's more vibrant, lively environments. Just as I showed you before, those environments really just don't match up with the low poly Piñata Puppy. The VHS effects over the gameplay gives it a surreal, unsettling look, making it hard to tell if this model is used consistently or only in certain sequences, such as this chase scene. Model number 2, Polished Piñata Puppy. This second model features glowing eyes that adds an ominous touch. It retains a playful and cheerful color scheme, making it less outright terrifying though. And this model has only been shown 3 times since the project's creation, which raises questions about how significant its role will actually be. I mean, hey, this could potentially transform into something more sinister later in the game, but we don't have proof for that yet. Between the two, the second model seems like a better fit into the game's atmosphere. It has a costume animatronic feel reminiscent of the character designs in FNAF Security Breach, with a polished, fabricated appearance that makes it both familiar and uncanny. However, if the game fails to utilize the airy potential of this design, it would be a wasted opportunity. You want to know the opportunities they did not waste? The locations. A haunted time capsule? Well, I only say that because Piñata Puppy World, it looks like a forgotten strip mall. The architecture suggests an early 2000s strip mall, a once thriving hotspot now abandoned and unsettling. The entrance from the outside, it's dull and lifeless. Inside, it's a chaotic wonderland designed for kids, contrasting sharply with its fading exterior. The playroom is the kind of place you'd run into as a kid at McDonald's before fast food chains started phasing out play places. While they still exist in some locations, they are far less common, making them feel like relics of a lost childhood. The main hub is colorful, almost like a classroom with childlike murals of clouds, stars, and then sprinkled artificial trees within. A dreamlike illusion of an outdoor paradise. Strangely, a shop is nestled within the hub, yet there's no clear indication of its purpose. An intriguing mystery that leaves players wondering if it serves a crucial role within the game or simply remained an unused relic of its past. Lastly, the main character's bedroom. Just based on this video, it's a classic childhood bedroom. Dated by its walls and wooden paneling, these are small details that hint at a past era. Like, modern homes don't use wallpaper anymore, but they usually do tell us. Next comes the story. A birthday, a memory, or a nightmare. In the following clip, I'm going to be showing you a birthday party. Then we have these clips of a Piñata Puppy World show flash by. We have a clip of snow falling as the player drives down a quiet road. We have more of a school hallway stretching into the distance, and then candles going out while the screen widens. The story hinted in the trailer suggests themes of a childhood nostalgia, lost and possibly regret. You, our protagonist, seem to be revisiting old memories, longing for the joy and innocence of youth, but something is off. Is Piñata Puppy World just a decaying relic of the past, or is it something more sinister? Are we here for a trip down memory lane, or is this just a nightmare in disguise? Oh, this next argument is my favorite for this whole video, and it really flames the fire for me. But now we're going to talk about the art style. Are there too many influences? Piñata Puppy World draws from multiple aesthetics, some of which seem contradictory. We have found footage horror with the VHS effects. We have mascot horror with the creepy yet colorful character. We have backrooms influence, empty liminal spaces. We also have nostalgia horror, deep emotional pull towards childhood memories. While this mix is intriguing, there's one shot in the trailer that stands out. One that looks vastly different from the rest of the game. A sleek, polished shot of Piñata Puppy contradicts the grainy, VHS filtered gameplay we've seen. So what's the real art direction? Is this game going for grimy found footage horror, or is it leaning towards a security breach styled polished 3D world? The inconsistency raises concerns about how well the final product will blend these styles. I personally don't like that we have these two separate models, and I get it. Our first model is the game engine footage, but that is just a render of the game without any actions happening, without any harm. It is playing one command, so it doesn't overheat the computer by rendering everything. Going from the art style, we're going to talk about the risk of overused horror tropes. Piñata Puppy walks a fine line between refreshing and repetitive. It taps into some of the most overused themes in modern horror. And again, this is going to be backroom style liminality, the unsettling, empty feeling of spaces that should be full of life. Mascot horror, following in the steps of, FNAF, Poppy Playtime, Garten of Banban. And then we have the VHS horror aesthetic, nostalgic, but increasingly overdone. Will it stand out, or will it be lost in a sea of indie horror games that all borrow from the same playbook? So for these characters, I will be honest, they came out after I started building the essay, but we have Gay Gecko, a character confident, supportive, reliant, is supposed to be embodiment of unconditional support and care. His loves for plants reflects his caring and nurturing spirit. He will always be around to give company to his friends. Can work on, sometimes they try to find solutions to problems that don't exist, causing trouble when nothing was there. And then we have Loris Lockness. Character, chillaxed, nonchalant, and self-preserved, Loris always looks out and advocates for her hard-working friends to take plenty of breaks. Can work on, embodying relaxation and laziness. Unfortunately, Loris, sometimes in the face of adversary, opts to only take the easy way out, leaving her friends behind. Now, after looking at both designs, I will say they do look a little lazy and that the characters weren't really worked on. It can be easily pointed out with Loris Lockness, one, being a lazy character, and then two, she is just blue. That is their whole personality, is being lazy and blue. And then Gay Gecko, or Happy Gecko, I think that's the worst design for a gecko I've ever seen. I see the nostrils, the mouth, but you have two stripes overshadowing or eyeshadowing and a few little sparkles under him, but that's it. You can tell he's a gecko just by the patterns on his fingers and belly, but if you strip that away, you would not even be able to tell that's a gecko. You'd call it a turtle, you'd call it something else. I just don't think these two characters really had thought behind it and were poorly designed. I'm hoping once we get more information that, they look way better. But for now, they are poorly designed. So, will Piñata Puppy World fail? Not necessarily. It has potential, and a lot of it, but it all hinges on execution. If the team behind it leans to the nostalgia factor effectively, they could craft something truly unique. An experience that tugs at your childhood memories while creeping into your nightmares. But if it becomes just another mascot horror game trying to ride the wave, it risks being forgotten. At the end of the day, Piñata Puppy World's success depends on how well it blends its elements, its story, its art direction, and its horror. If it nails the balance, it could be something special. If not, it just might be on another name of a long list of indie horror projects that failed to leave a mark. What do you think? Will Piñata Puppy World succeed, or is it doomed to fade into obscurity? Let me know in the comments. This is Donny Boy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Mwah. Okay. Here we go. Will Piñata Puppy World fail? Before we dive in, yes, I know this game isn't out yet, and yes, this is a new style of video compared to my usual indie horror gameplay content, but we don't have time to discuss that. Let me present to you, will Piñata Puppy World fail? Before I can answer this question, there's a lot to unpack. So let's start with the nostalgia factor. One of Piñata Puppy World's biggest selling points is that I'm a fucking idiot. Fuck, man, I have the fan still on. I gotta get more water. The heat is cranking in here.